So, what we're diving into today, it's not just some story. It's more like a dark parable. We're going to take a gothic look at ambition and the huge psychological price that comes with it, focusing on a mind that just slowly unraveled itself, thread by thread.
And this line, this right here, is the absolute heart of our story. It puts the queen right at the center of this tragedy, a tormented figure whose fate is sealed not by some external curse, but by a choice she made.
Our story doesn't kick off in some grand, warm throne room. No. We start high up on the cold castle battlements. And it's here that we find a queen who is already trapped, not by stone walls, but by this state of constant, grinding guilt. Just try to picture the scene, a freezing, moonless night. You know, the kind of deep cold that just gets right into your bones? This whole desolate atmosphere, it's not just for show. It's a perfect mirror of the queen's own internal, frozen emptiness. And get this, the source material gives us this incredibly visceral image. The stone walls themselves seem to sweat a dark, viscous fluid. It's as if the very castle is weeping, maybe whispering the names of the betrayed, creating this oppressive horror that she just can't escape. And this is where we find the queen, endlessly scrubbing her hands. But the stain she's trying to wash away, it's not real. It's the invisible ink of 1,000 sins, this iron scent that always reminds her of the king's ambition. Her guilt has become this psychological wound that no amount of scrubbing could ever heal.
So you have to ask, where is all this torment coming from? Well, her suffering is a direct result of the king's own bloody ambition and the throne he so violently stole.
And the king's transformation, it is absolutely terrifying. He's not just a ruler anymore, he's a monster he built himself. You can just picture him on that throne of bone, having traded every last bit of his humanity for power. The source even says the crown felt less like a prize and more like a living parasite, burrowing into his skull, all while he's haunted by ghosts of his own making. So this crown isn't just a piece of metal. It's presented as this living, evil thing. That cold, pulsing heartbeat is the rhythm of the very ambition that's corrupted their entire world. And for the queen, it's a sound she can never escape. It's the engine driving her straight into madness. But, this wasn't just some straightforward political power grab. Oh no. There was something supernatural at play here, something that twisted their ambition into a one-way ticket to doom. The cryptic prophecies of 3 mysterious hags. Deep in these weeping woods, there were these 3 beings. And the source material is super clear about this. They were not women. They were something far, far older, described as living fissures in reality itself. Their whole world was just wrong. A complete inversion of the natural order. They lived where trees grew upside down and whispered truths that were specifically designed to make a person's soul rot from the inside out. These weren't just fortune tellers, they were architects of psychological decay, and you can just imagine them watching the kingdom's downfall reflected in their 6 unblinking eyes. So what was their prophecy? Well, it was this bizarre vision of a walking forest and a man not born of a woman. But here's the twist. These weren't warnings meant to help. They were hooks, baited with just enough truth to seem safe, designed to lure the king and the queen along with him deeper and deeper into their own self-made trap. And all of this, the king's bloodlust, the hag's poisonous words, it all comes crashing back down on the queen, leading to the final, catastrophic collapse of her mind. And that question, man, it just gets right to the heart of her tragedy, doesn't it? Because her torment, it was self-inflicted. She wasn't just a passive victim here, she was complicit. Like the source says, she invited the void in. And by doing that, she pretty much made any chance of recovery totally impossible. And the end result, it's just devastating. Her sanity doesn't just, fray at the edges, it shatters into jagged shards. She becomes this hollow vessel, an empty shell just filled with screaming winds. For the queen, this is it, the point of no return. So with the queen completely lost to her madness, the stage is set for the final act. And we're about to see those twisted prophecies come true in the most horrifying way imaginable, as the world itself starts to turn on the king. The end comes, just like they said it would, but in ways the king could never have seen coming. The trees of the ironwood literally tear their roots from the earth and start to march, pushed on by the vengeful spirits of his victims. Then, a warrior of cold steel appears, a man ripped untimely from a dying womb. One by one, every single piece of the prophecy just clicks into place. And this is the moment, the king's final, horrifying realization. The words he thought guaranteed his safety were actually the bars of a cage made of language, trapping him. The prophecy was never a map to survival. It was the blueprint for his own meticulously constructed doom. So what's the big takeaway from this dark parable? Well, it's a chilling commentary on the self-destructive nature of ambition, especially when that ambition is won through violence. It's basically telling us that grabbing power through bloodshed is like signing a contract written in disappearing ink. The victory is always, always temporary. The throne itself is rigged, and the promises of power will inevitably fade, leaving nothing behind but the consequences. And that leaves us with this final, chilling thought. The king and queen, they thought they could command the darkness, use it as a tool. But darkness doesn't serve a master. It just waits for its supposed master to become hollowed out by their own ambition, thin enough to be swallowed whole. You see, this whole parable is a dark reimagining of Macbeth, who fell not to another man, but to the sheer weight of a crown he was never meant to carry. It makes you wonder, when you invite the void to tea, who is ever really in control?